Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Kevin Plays LOTRO. Today we are doing Update 30, The Blood of Azog. It's new content. This is the day after release at the time of recording. And shoot, I wanted to read the release notes, but let me see here. Let me look it up real quick. I am not prepared. And I'll put the release notes link in the description below. But here, let's read a little bit for the release notes here. Okay, so Interlude, Blood of Azog. After the escape of Grogar, son of Bolg, and the sealing of the gates of Mount Gundabad by Himril Frostheart, Prince Durin faces his first true test as the leader of the Gabalaka. As Durin weighs whether it will be vengeance or wisdom that guides his hand, Lord Glowin's thoughts turn to conflicts of old. All too familiar with the triumphs and sorrows of Durin's folk, Glowin hopes that a lesson in history might temper Prince Durin's desire to bring the War of Three Peaks to an end, heedless of all cost. Blood of Azog introduces a new story set after the events of the War of Three Peaks that allows the player to experience historical moments in Middle-earth's history as Prince Durin and the Gabalaka make ready to reclaim Mount Gundabad. Meet new characters, see additional Dwarffolk clans, and prepare for the adventures to come in Gundabad. Players can begin this story by talking to Glowin inside Anak-Khufru in Elderslade. The Blood of Azog is free to VIPs and available to purchase in the LOTRO store as a quest pack inside the game. Tales of Yore, a Xanobizar, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Yeah, and you know what? If you have a chance, Google that. So I'll read what it's about. Among the dwarves of the Lonely Mountains, studious scholars have kept detailed accounts of the history of Durin's folk. Within these lengthy volumes is a tale of the Sixth War of the Dwarves and Orcs, which ended with the Battle of Azonobizar. I'll get better as I pronounce this. Players will experience the momentous events of the battle as their own characters, but through the eyes of Hermath Stormhammer, a hero of Durin's folk, as recounted in his written works. I am totally looking forward to that. Players can begin the Tales of Yore Xanobizar content by following the Blood of Azog interlude questline from Glowin at Anak-Khufru in Elderslade. Players who wish to jump immediately into Xanobizar can travel to Akraz-Zahar in the dwelling halls of Erebor and click on the Tales of Yore Xanobizar collection of books to travel to the new quest area. As part of the addition of Xanobizar, Third Age 2799, Update 30 also includes a small visual update to the Lord of the Rings Online's Dremel Dale, first introduced in the Mines of Moria expansion. Alright, and then there's a raid. They got a new raid out in this update. Raid, the Fall of Khazad-dûm, which is also known as Moria. Although the fate of Khazad-dûm was all but certain by the year 1981 of the Third Age, the dwarves of Durin's folk resolved to make a final stand against the Balrog of Morgoth, better known as Durin's Bane. Yeah, that's the Balrog that Gandalf fought during the Fellowship of the Ring, and also in the beginning of the Two Towers. In this new 12-player raid, players will join King Nain the and his vanguard, including Nafni, as they valiantly attempt to drive Durin's Bane from the Second Hall. Can the dwarves of Durin's folk prevail against this ancient foe, or do they merely delay the inevitable? Witness a battle against Durin's Bane like you've never seen before in the Lords of the Rings Online. Players can gain access to this new raid by approaching the gates of Khazad-dûm at Xanobizar In addition, players who have finished the main quest line in Tales of Yore as Azog are granted an additional quest to complete the raid and earn unique rewards. Tiers 1 through 3 are now available. The Leading the Charge deeds will be available to earn through August 11th, 2021. Tier 4 is expected to open at noon Eastern on June 17th, with Tier 5 opening at noon Eastern on July 1st. And then there's more. So they did some class changes for Bjorning, Burglar, Captain, Champion. The only thing they changed on Champion was that Clobber can no longer miss nor be blocked, parried, or evaded. And then they had changes for Guardian, Hunter, Lore Master, Minstrel, Runekeeper, Warden. I'll let you guys click on the link in my description and look at what all those changes are, regarding to your class. Let's see, combat. Let me see. So in combat, Update 30's new raid introduces a new mechanic called Revive Counters, which put a limit on the number of revives available to accept during boss fights in the new raid at Tier 2 and above. During boss fights, you may see a Revives Available icon in your buff bar, which will track the number of revives available for the entire fellowship. Accepting a revive effect decrements the counter. If the counter is currently at 0, all revive skills will become grayed out. During the fight, your fellowship will receive additional revive tokens up to a maximum of 5. So wow, some challenging new stuff there at the later tiers in the raid. Okay, let me see here. They also updated some crafting, housing, items, NPCs. Let me see. Okay, so the NPC Figment of Splendor is back. Let's see. Rowan Raspberry has returned, has new cosmetic items available for Figments of Splendor, including Avendar Cosmetics, Housing Decoration, Cosmetic Pets, and a Steed, and matching War Steed appearances. Let me see. Quest and adventure areas. I'm not going to go through all that. Virtues can now go up to rank 75 at level 130. Miscellaneous. Elf female avatars now use their correct base idol, some stuff, and that's it. I'm not going to go into the rest. Let's get to playing. Let's see. So my wife's watching TV in the background, and so that's going to be the noise you might hear in the back. And let's see what else. Let's close that. Alright, so let's get to it. If you like the video or like the series, please feel free to click on that like, subscribe, and bell notification, and let's get to it. So for the new area, a couple things. We got new mail here from Glowin, Reflections on War. So we go here, my friend and ally, I wish I could write to you with tidings of victory, but the war continues in Elderslade. Although the Gabalaka has been fortunate enough to win a brief respite in the battle for Mount Gundabad, another matter has arisen and my heart is ill at ease. If I may speak so plainly, I have need of your counsel. So we'll go ahead and detach that. Alright. I should have probably just stored all those fireworks, but oh well. Let me see here, and then this is the quest item probably. Yep. Talk to Glowin at Anak Kurfu. Florisita. Despite our many triumphs, the War of Three Peaks have taken a great toll. To some among the Gabalaka, victory seems no closer than it did when Prince Durin first swore his oath before the anvil of Winterstith. Gorgar, son of Bolg, still eludes us. Wittingly or not, that accursed cold dragon Himril Frostheart allowed him to escape his doom. It is little comfort that there is no love lost between the two of them, for their hatred of dwarves might prove enough to set aside their enmities, at least for the moment. All is not lost, and I stand by my words, but it is difficult for the dwarves of the Gabalaka to see the battle on the threshold of Gundabad as anything but a costly setback. and to the mind of Prince Durin an unforgivable defeat. Although he has not said it aloud or so plainly, Prince Durin has set his thoughts upon vengeance. In truth, he contemplates a great offensive to breach the gates and reclaim Mount Gundabad at all cost. I will not overstep the bounds of my station, but I am an old enough dwarf to know that the hunt for vengeance might prove just as deadly as any weapon our foes might wield against us. Prince Durin knows well the worth of your counsel, and I believe that together you and I might convince him to weigh the wisest course to this war's end. And so I humbly request that you return to Anak Khufu. Let us speak soon, my friend. Glowing. So, all right, that's good that they think so highly of us to have our counsel in these matters. All right, let's see what else if I click on this. Nope. Okay, so we gotta go to glowing, and we gotta open our hobbit presents. Okay, massive pile of scraps. All right, and then let me check my thing about. Ooh, I got a trait. A trait point. Pretty much all. Oh, I can't spend it. Okay, because I'm mostly yellow, but going into red. Yep. All right. Never mind. Let me see here. What do I have here? What am I currently earning? Tactical mitigation. So yeah, I'm not maxed out at all. So let's go to justice. Alright, now we're earning justice. Okay. So we'll do that. And let's sell these scraps. What is this? Map debris. Alright.
I am at your service.
Alright, so alright. Whee!
How can I be of service?
Alright. Really? I can't get there from here? I guess not. Okay, we can go to Southbury. I could get there from Southbury. Alright.
What can I do for you?
Elder Slay, there it is. Well, let me see. Glowing, glowing, glowing. Where is glowing? If I remember right, it must be upstairs. There he is. Can't miss him with that white cloak. Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me.
I suppose in times of war, nothing is certain. So
Ah.
I'm thankful you received my letter.
Ah, Florisita, you received my letter? I suppose in times of war, nothing is certain, just like he said. So I am thankful for that at least.
Though I have tried to convince him otherwise, Prince Durin blames himself for the setback at the gates of Mount Gundabad.
Oh, at the finish of this, I get another class trait point. That's cool. Let me see, what is this? He'll grant you a new portrait frame, okay. Oh, cool. Alright. Okay, so it is recommended but not required that you complete the Legacy of Durin and the Trials of the Dwarves chapters 1 through 4 before playing Blood of Azog, which we've already done, which is the War of Three Peaks, I believe. So, it is good to see you again, Florisita. This is not the manner of reunion I would have preferred, but I am afraid it could not be helped. Though I have tried to convince him otherwise, Prince Durin blames himself for the setback at the gates of Mount Gundabad. He considers it a defeat, a failure, and perhaps most of all, a rebuke to his worthiness of the name Durin. Even though that is not so, I fear he believes that vengeance might be his only path to redemption in the eyes of the Longbeards. Prince Durin has heard many tales of the deeds of his grandfather, but neither he nor even King Thorin know them as I do. In my youth, I learned the cost of vengeance firsthand. I was at Azog. I know well the price that was paid to see Azog's head set upon a pike. It is true that Grogar and Himril await us beyond the gates of Mount Gundabad, but within the mountain home, the advantage belongs to them. If we are to win this war and reclaim the sacred mountain, our soldiers must be given the time to tend their wounds and prepare for the battles ahead. Let us help Prince Durin to lead the Gabalakat to victory, my friend. That is all I ask. Of course, I will accept that. There we go. Alright. Eglon with blood, a lesson hard learned. So let's click on him again.
I
There we
believe
go.
Prince Durin intends to send word to Nain at Zarko-Solun. But it so happens that there are dwarves of the Harum Obnar in his garrison.
Okay. Before this war began, King Thorin sent 3 elder warriors to aid his son, Agnar Brokentoot, Helmbiter, and Reithvald Red-ember. They are dwarves of the Harum Obnar, the Brethren of Survivors. It is an order little known outside the line of Durin's folk, but its members hold a place of high esteem in the eyes of King Thorin, and more importantly, those of his brother Nain. I would wager there is little that might temper his fervor for battle as much as the word of one of the Harum Obnar, let alone 3 of them. I believe Prince Durin intends to send word of Zarko-Solun that his uncle might be apprised of the plans to reclaim Mount Gundabad. It so happens that Agnar, Lagi, and Reithvald are among his garrison. Need I explain myself further, Florisita? This must be done delicately, that the prince is not undermined in the eyes of the Gabalakat. You are a trusted friend, Florisita, and I am certain the prince would send you on this errand should you ask. Talk to Durin at Anakurfu. Alright.
I saw you speaking with Glóin. All is well, I hope.
Ah, Florisita, it is good to see you here once again, my friend. For my part, I have not sat idle since the battle at the gates of Mount Gundabad. After the death of Renular, Gogar fled in fear from the Gabalaka, and yes, I am quite aware that Himral Frostheart may have influenced his actions, but it was a victory nonetheless. After so much hardship, a mere wall of ice cannot keep me from my prize. I saw you speaking with Glowin. All is well, I hope. You tell Durin that Glowin told you of a new plan to reclaim the mountain home, and you request that you might be the one to bring word of it to Nain. Indeed, it is my belief that we should breach the ice on the morrow and hunt down Golgar within the halls of Gundabad. Dwarves are hardier than orcs after all, and if we grant our enemies too much rest, all our efforts in this war would be for naught. We are so near to victory, my friend. We mustn't let up now. As for your request, it is granted. Deliver word of my plans to Nain and see if he finds it to his liking. Alright, travel to Zarko-Sulon and the War of Three Peaks. Alright. There it is. Way up there. Oopsie. There we go. Talk to Nain the Slakeless. Okay. Oh, what is that? I missed what that said. Although the din of war can be heard in the distance, Zarko-Sulon is quiet. Alright, there's Nain the Slakeless.
It is a sound plan to my ear, but it was not on a mere whim that my brother sent 3 of the Karum Ubnar to aid the prince. Let us hear what they have to say.
How fares my nephew at Anakrufu Florisita? You exchange welcomes with Nain and then tell him of Prince Durin's plans to reclaim Gundabad. After a moment, you ask Nain what the Karum Ubnar in his garrison might make of it. It is a sound plan to my ear, but my eagerness for battle is well known. I would not even wait for the morrow were I a younger dwarf. Nain pauses. And maybe that Thorin is not as well suited to battle as I am, but he is keen in judgment. It was not by a mere whim that my brother sent 3 of the Karum Ubnar to aid the prince. Beyond those 3 warriors, none of the Longbeards in the Gabalaka, even old Glowin, have seen so much of battle and its cost. I will honor your request if you will honor one of my own. I have seen Gorgar's ilk, all manner of evil beasts, and even some of those wicked men of Agmar drawing nearer to Zarko-Sulon since the battle at the gates, and I would not have them doubt our mettle. Slay them to the last! Let us see how the Karum Ubnar judged Durin's plan, Florisita. Alright. So, okay. We will do that. We'll also talk to Agnar, Legging, and Reithvald. But I think they are... Yeah, I think they are in a different area. So we have to go out that way anyway. Alright. Yeah. Well, there's one there, one there, one there. So I missed one. Alright, so we gotta get our there we go, we gotta get our sidekick, Nicholas, the cozy Yule goat kid. Let's go, Nicholas. Let's go kick some orc booty and see if we could find these guys. Should be another one here. Agnar Brokentoot, there he is.
I am as eager as Prince Durin to return to Gundabad.
What?
But it is a difficult prize to grasp. And
what?
I should know.
What does Lord Nain ask of me? You tell Agnar about Prince Durin's plan to reclaim Mount Gundabad and ask what he thinks of it. Hold on one second. Excuse me. Okay. We did what we could to hinder Gorgar and his army of orcs on the field, but these old bones are not as strong as they were when I was a younger dwarf. I am as eager as Prince Durin to return to Gundabad, but it is a difficult prize to grasp, and I should know. After all, I was there when Komog, son of Azog, fell broken in its halls, and I remember how it fell just as quickly back into the hands of the orcs after the war. Do not misunderstand me, Florisita. I think much better of our chance this time, but I would not press the attack until we are better prepared for what awaits us within. Alright. So let's go up here. Yeah, and there's one back there. Okay. And there he is.
I have seen enough of battle to know the signs of fatigue, even if these dwarves are too proud to admit it.
Lord Nain has sent you? I have much to report, Florisita, some for good and some for ill. Of the good, our defenses have held against our orcs, and their numbers have dwindled since our encounter at the gates of Mount Gundabad. These few that make their way to our line are unorganized and easy prey for the Zaruka. In the past several days, I am proud to report that we have not lost a single dwarf. But of the bad, it should come as little surprise. We are still engaged in war, my friend. There is no time to simply take shelter and rest while Gorgar hides within the mountain home. After all, there are other ways out of that mountain, and the orcs must know them all. You interject to ask Reithvald about Prince Durin's plan to reclaim Gundabad. That is not so simple a matter. My soldiers are in need of rest. I have seen enough of battle to know the signs of fatigue, even if they are too proud to admit it. Durin holds some of his army in reserve at Anak-Khufru, and I would urge him to send as many soldiers as he can spare to relieve us. Even if only for a short time, it would be of great help to us for the coming battles. Okay, so there are some enemies over here. So let's defeat some enemies over here. Oh, come on. I turned the camera around. Iron Crown Priest. Alright, what's that? Oh, okay. Okay. Well, not a whole lot of enemies over here. Oh, here we go. Let's get these guys. I guess not. Okay. There we go. Come on. I'm stuck. Get him. There we go. And I think there's a Was there a little roving through there? Some. Here's some. Let's get them. Should have started off with the horn. There we go. Alright, who else is around here? There's more around here. Skarn! More Skarn! Alright, here's a bunch of stuff. Let's get it. Oh yeah, sappers too. Whee! Any more? Oh, there's a commander. Come on, Cobra Commander. Yeah, come on, I can take you all on. I'm a champion. What else? You know, I should be using that skill first, but oh well. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Alright, whee! The sickness. Talk to Leggy Helmbiter. Alright. So we got a cross over here. Come on, Nicholas, we gotta find Leggy Helmbiter. Oh, sure. Oh, is he? Maybe he's in there. No? No, he's way back here. Alright, let's go find him. Oh, there's an Azhorn. Sure, when I don't need enemies, they pop out of nowhere. You know, I should do that one first. There we go. Oh, this one. This one has a high moral commander or something. Warband. I think he's labeled as a warband. But oh well. Quest ring's telling me to go this way. We're going this way. Oh, okay. I should really follow the road. Uh-oh. Are the wars chasing me? I guess the wars are chasing me. Uh-oh. Here, we'll pop that. Come on, pop that. Give me a second, baby. Alright. You call me, babe? Alright, give me a second, everyone. Oops.
Mic off.
Alright, I just died. Alright, let's retreat. And I'll get to closer where I want to be anyway. Yep, that's a fast way to get there. Alright. Alright, let's see if we can find Leggy Helmbiter.
All is well, and yet not all.
There he is. Upstairs.
If Prince Durin would hear my advice, it is that our soldiers need rest, and the time to heal for the coming battles.
It is good to see you, Florisita, but what has brought you here? You present Prince Durin's plan to reclaim Mount Gundabad to Lagi and ask his thoughts on it. Although he has led the Gabalaka admirably through this war, I have many misgivings in regard to the prince's plans. And I'm just checking some stuff. Okay. Prince's plan. Alright, just look at the soldiers here in Zarkusulan. They are tired. We spent the lives of many dwarves to win the gates of Mount Gundabad, but for those who survived, it is now a matter of will, and not all the dwarves in the Gabalaka can bear such a burden. Hardship is to be expected in war, but many of these soldiers do not know it as I do. In my youth, we spent 6 years of bitter war fighting our enemies, but even in the height of his fury, King Thrain knew the value of respite from the battle. Many look back at that war as a single great battle at Azog, but had we fought those years without rest, we would never have made it to the gates of Khazad-dûm. If Prince Durin would hear my advice, it is that our soldiers need rest and the time to heal for the coming battles. We have been fortunate thus far in the War of Three Peaks, but winning a battle does not win a war. Alright. Poor Nick. He didn't make it. There we go.
I find myself in agreement with the Karum Ubnar. But a dwarf of my reputation could hardly say as much aloud. I would be called Nain the Slakeless.
So you return, Florisita. What do they have to say of Prince Durin's plans? You inform Nain of what Agnar, Lagi, and Reithvald told you. I should have expected such wisdom from the dwarves of the Karum Ubnar. In truth, I find myself in agreement with them, but a dwarf of my reputation could hardly deliver such news to Durin. I would be called Nain the Slakeless, and that is no title for the Lord of the Iron Hills. Were it my army, I would muster more forces to Elderslade and call upon distant cousins and allies, but that would be a matter to bring before my brother Thorin. Ah, for once I am pleased such a decision is not left to me. You must return to Anak Khufru on my behalf, Florisita. Let this be my guidance to the prince. Seek the wisdom of your father and stay your hand for the moment that it might soon swing with renewed strength. Okay. So there's the blazon right there.
I must admit, my friend, that is not the response I expected from my uncle.
Florisita, what did Nain have to say of my plan? You delivered Nain's guidance to Prince Durin. The prince's face becomes stern, betraying the faintest hint of embarrassment. I must admit, my friend, that is not the response I expected. But if Uncle Nain believes I should send word to my father that the Gabalaka might be better for it, I have no reason to doubt his judgment. After all, it was not so long ago that I spent my days at the quenching trough in Yarnfest, spared the battle before the lonely mountain by the will of my father. Ah, but when it was my uncle who urges restraint, only a fool would ignore his counsel. Perhaps I was too swift to dismiss Gloin's concerns. I shall have to apologize to him for my imprudence, if I might. It seems I have much still to learn despite my station.
Uncle Nain believes the Gabilaka would be helped by again swelling its numbers, I see no reason to argue with him.
So be it, Floresita. I must admit I had not expected to send another messenger to the Lonely Mountain until this war was ended. I had hoped to send tidings of victory to my father, that I might finally prove myself a dwarf worthy of the name Durin. Bah, perhaps it was folly to entertain such stubbornness if my uncle believes the Gabalaka would be helped by again swelling its numbers. I see no reason to argue with him. Thorin looks across the upper hall of Anakufru. I will need some time to draft a message to my father, but I have had an idea. Many of the Longbeards here at Anakufru have written letters and prepared parcels to be delivered to their kin at the Lonely Mountain. Unfortunately, a great deal of them have gone unsent in recent days. It would please me to correct this oversight at the same time. I will set to writing my father at once after you have gathered all the letters and parcels returned to me. Right? Let's see. Okay, I see. So there's just letters just all around here. Now, Nicholas, don't eat the letters. You are a goat after all. Alright. Collect parcels. Here, I'm going to remove that. The parcels are downstairs. I'm going to say parcels are downstairs. Come on. Parcels. I guess they're not over here. That's interesting. There we go. All right.
I have written my father a formal request for a new muster. When the time comes to reclaim Gundabad, we will have need for dwarves of every vocation.
Ah, very good. And like he said, I have written my father a formal request for a new muster to Elderslade, one that comprises all of our trusted allies, even those unskilled in combat. When the time comes to reclaim Gundabad, we will have every need for dwarves of every vocation. I have also made special note that I will not begin the assault on Mount Gundabad until the time of your return. If my father wishes to offer any guidance, I would prefer to hear it before the battle is upon us. Durin seals the missive he has written to his father and hands it to you. By entrusting you with this missive, I am entrusting you with the success of the Gabalica, my friend. Be swift, and let nothing turn you from your path to the Lonely Mountain. Okay, we don't get a missive to read or anything. Nope. Okay. Okay, no Erebor. Okay, so we gotta go outside. Wrong way. Erebor. I better ride a horse. Doesn't tell me where, it's telling me over there. Interesting. That was to there, but oh well. I'm gonna go straight anyway. Oh, I could ride my goat. Alright, I think the missive is the most important thing.
Welcome, my adventurous friend. What news do you bring of Durin? How fares his campaign?
Welcome, Floresita. It has been some time since Glowin's message raven arrived, bearing a warning that the line of Azog remains unbroken in Gundabad. What news do you bring of my son? How fares his campaign? You inform King Thorin of the events that have transpired since he sent the remnants of the Iron Garrison to Anak-Khufru. You tell the tale of the battle on the threshold of Gundabad, of Gorgar's near defeat, and of the sudden danger of Himril Frostheart, returned from the anvil of Wintersith. You also tell King Thorin of Durin's desire to press the attack and how he was persuaded against it, at least for the moment, by Nain and the dwarves of the Karum Ubnar. I feared you had come bearing ill tidings, my friend. So long as my son is well, it puts my heart at ease. Thorin glances at the mass of letters and parcels you have brought to Erebor. I appreciate that you answered me as swiftly as you did, but please set all of that down. My subjects will see that they are delivered to the proper dwarves here in the Lonely Mountain. As for his missive, let us see what he has written.
Tell me, how did my son come to change his mind, truly?
A moment, my friend. King Thorin reads the message from Durin. I see. Tell me, Floresita, how did my son come to change his mind truly? You tell King Thorin of Glowin's concern and of his suggestion to speak to the dwarves of the Karum Ubnar among the Gibel Aka. It was for that reason I sent them, and I am heartened that Glowin warned him against plans born of vengeance. I only wish my son had heeded his words. Durin leads the greatest Longbeard army we have brought to bear in 70 years, but he is still young and in truth untested. Yes, he has found victory at many stops along his journey from the Iron Hills, but it is hardship that shapes a dwarf. Durin was fortunate to know my father Dain in his time. He too was young when he answered the call of war, and I often wonder what he would think of how swiftly Durin has grown into his name. Listen to King Thorin's thoughts of his father Dain. Listen to King Thorin's thoughts of his son Durin. Okay, there's thoughts of Dain right here.
What can be said of my father Dain that has not been etched into the very history of Durin's folk?
As he reminisces about Dain, Thorin's voice softens, and like he just said, what can be said of my father Dain that has not been etched into the very history of Durin's folk? He was but a stripling when he saw the great orc Azog at Azanul-Bizar. It was he who answered the call of Thorin Oakenshield and defended the Lonely Mountain against Bolg and the goblins of the north, and in so doing ushered in a time of peace between men, elves, and dwarves. And again, when the enemy sent his servants to the gates of the Lonely Mountain, he died in defense of his people, a hero to his last breath. Okay. But despite all of his great deeds, I knew him as my father. I was his son and Durin, his beloved grandson. I must confess that I often saw more of Dain in Durin than I did in myself. But what greater dwarf could one aspire to be? His thoughts of his son Durin. There he is.
Durin is not as hot-tempered as my brother, nor is he as measured as his father. He is himself, and that is enough.
As his thoughts turn to Durin, Thorin's voice swells. I have always been the more cautious of Dane's sons, and it has served me well. But for too long I believed it would suit Durin in much the same manner. It was not so long ago that I sequestered Durin in the Iron Hills where battle raged in the Dale lands, but now my son leads an army to reclaim the mountain home. I dare not dream that Gundabad might be within reach, especially after the failure of the Iron Garrison, and yet my son has proven his possibility, both to me and to all of Durin's folk. Durin is not as hot-tempered as my brother, nor is he as measured as his father. He is himself, and that is enough. Durin will err as any dwarf will in his time, but I did not name him Durin that he would earn the name in his life. The name will earn him through his deeds.
Durin has requested that I send a new mustard to the mountain hall, but so too does he ask for my guidance. That has given me much to consider.
Yep, it is true that many dwarves of the Iron Garrison pledged themselves into the service of my son, and more still journeyed from our holdings in the Misty Mountains to aid the Gabalica. Even so, there are many Longbeards and trustworthy dwarves of the Landrim and Narfanghoth that might still be called upon. Durin has requested I send a new muster to the mountain home. It will be done. Thorin pauses for a moment and strokes his beard. But so too does my son ask for my guidance, and that has given me much to consider. Okay, and nothing new popped in here, right? Oh, let's see. Maybe let's do that one. I'm not going to do that stuff until let's do the Jade Gemstones. Why not? Alright, we'll see just how many enemies I kill, then we can collect that stuff. Alright. Aid King Thorin with blood of Azog. Brethren of past and present.
My son asks my guidance in winning a war.
Thorin chuckles to himself. I may not be a warrior in the manner of my father Floricita, but I know well enough that those of Karhum Ubnar learned such lessons long ago. After all, it was Dane who organized the Karhum Ubnar after the war's end. It was to be comprised of those who survived the Sixth War, and those descended from Marisran, the burned dwarves of Azog. Agnar, Lagi, and Reithvald are not the only dwarves of that order who still dwell within the Lonely Mountain, my friend. Perhaps their wisdom might be of use to my son. Thorin thinks for a moment, stroking his beard. After a moment, he produces a small scrap of paper and writes upon a short message. Within the dwelling halls of Tumnu Doom, there is an order hall of the Karhum Ubnar. It is known among Durin's folk as Akraz-Zahar, and there you might find a dwarf named Herseg. She is barely beyond the age of a stripling, but she is the granddaughter of one of the greatest heroes of Azog, and more importantly, one of the dearest friends of my father Dane. I have written her a note asking that she might introduce you to the works of her grandfather, Hermath Stormhammer. She too is well studied in the lore of Durin's folk, possessing wisdom beyond her years. Deliver this message to her, and she will understand what I ask. Alright, let me reread where she's located within the dwelling halls of... so that should be here, right? And I think I have to leave here anyway. Alright, we'll accept. Travel to in the dwelling halls in Erebor. Yes. Okay. So we gotta go this way. Whee! Alright, let's see if it shows up here. Shoot. I was hoping it'd be here. Oh, there she is. Right there. So make a right. Yeah, there's the quest guide right there. Alright. Let me look here real quick. Yeah, should be straightforward enough. Nope. Maybe. No exit. Okay, never mind. Yep. Ah, it's a little crowded in here. Is there a horsey in here too? Oh, interesting. Alright. Oh, as you enter Akraz-Zahar, a familiar dwarf meets you. Frithgeir.
I heard you followed Prince Durin in his quest. Was that not so?
Floresita, what brings you back to the Lonely Mountain? And like he said, I heard you follow Prince Durin in his quest. Was that not so? You explained to Frithgeir that you have returned at Durin's request to seek the aid of King Thorin. I see. Well, do not let me keep you, my friend. For my part, I was just about to take Nar home. Poor Nar. It has been a long day, and although was more himself in this morning, his mind has wandered. Perhaps Nar might wish you well in your quest, but I can make no promise. Nar? Poor Nar. We meet him back in, I believe it's Rise of Isengard. Let's hail him. Nar shuffles for a moment. Give me a second, everyone. Ah, you look an awful lot like a man I met long ago at Zugurden. But we must be going. Yes, I do hope Herva makes a stew tonight. Poor Nar.
Wherever Prince Durin's quest might lead you, I hope you take care of yourself, my friend.
Thank you, Floresita. It means a great deal to me, and I know it does Nar good to see friends. Wherever Prince Durin's quest might lead you, I hope you take care of yourself, my friend. Perhaps we will see you when next you return to the Lonely Mountain. Okay. And let me... Okay. Let me see. Guess the dwarf we're looking for is over here. No, Hergseek. But there's a quest right there. Let's see what quest this is. Ooh, look at all these missions. Okay. We're not doing missions just yet. So let's first find this dwarf. Maybe she's upstairs. Nope. Alright. Oh my goodness. Oh, hey, there's the mission recruiter. Okay. What the heck? Alright. Find Hersig. There's Hersig. Across the dimly lit hall of Akraz-Zahar, you spy a young dwarf matching King Thorin's description. There she is.
A missive from King Thorin? I do hope this isn't about the cave claws again. Last time was an accident, I swear it.
We got a shard and a universal solvent. That's good. What business have you with the Karhum Ubnar? Hersig appears to tighten her grip on a weapon beneath your view. You swiftly explain that you have been sent by King Thorin to deliver a message to Hersig. A missive from King Thorin? I do hope this isn't about the clave claws again. Last time was an accident, I swear it.
Let me see what all this is about.
Hersig looks over the missive from King Thorin. Her bushy eyebrows raise and lower a few times until finally she lets out what seems to be a sigh of relief. Well, that wasn't what I expected. I must apologize for my curt introduction, Floresita. I am Hersig, and I tend to Akraz-Zahar on behalf of the Karhum Ubnar. As for that missive, it seems King Thorin wishes for me to introduce you to the works of my grandfather. Ooh, guys of Hermes Stormhammer. Look at that. Hermes Stormhammer, yes, to the works of my grandfather, Hermes Stormhammer. He kept a detailed account of his experience in the Sixth War of the Dwarves and Orcs, especially the Battle of Azog. In fact, a collection of his volumes are right over there. Although I am sure Prince Durin has heard tales of that war before, the king insists your study of it will be of use to his son and the Gibelaka. But it's no use studying the battle without hearing the beginning of the tale. The beginning of the tale, I say. King Thorin has given me a task of my own, but since I have a little time, I'd be honored to read it to you. So, what do you say? Sure.
So, you wish to hear the tale of Nar?
I must warn you, Floresita, it is quite grim, even for a retelling. Ah, but first, Hersig glances around Akraz-Zahar, making careful note of the dwarves still present. Ah, good. It seems Frithgeir has taken him home. Poor Nar. Nar is an old dwarf, and though it is no fault of his own, he is often forgetful and confused in his mind. It is as if the stones of a great mosaic were scattered upon the floor. All of the pieces remain in some form or another, but what it once depicted is lost. Even so, neither I nor anyone else in this hall would tell the tale in his presence. Hersig lifts a small volume from her lips and flips through its pages, stopping at one page in particular. Let us begin. Alright.
When you are ready, I will begin. Although he has at last found comfort amongst Durin's folk at the Lonely Mountain, the dwarf Nar has been witness to much hardship and tragedy throughout his long life.
Yeah, Nar has suffered a lot of trauma. Seriously. Alright.
Long after the realm of Grarek had fallen to the cold great Reithvald, and 20 years after the Lonely Mountain fell to Smaug, King Thror and his folk came to dwell in a pool near the wilds of Dunland.
From the old stronghold of Zudrudund, Thror ruled what remained of the two kingdoms he had fled in his life. His son was Thrain, a formidable warrior. His grandsons Thorin and Frerin and granddaughter Dis were yet young. His people were few, poor, and hungry, and they knew little joy since the loss of their homes in the north. Dotage and gloom took their toll on King Thor, and he thought long of regaining the splendor of his father's hall. But it was not in the halls of Erebor where Smaug now slumbered upon the heirlooms of his people, nor the frozen wastes in the north that called to him. It was Khazad-dûm itself. It had been more than 800 years since doom befell it, since the elves named it Moria, but it mattered not. Thror determined that he would reclaim it, and in so doing, restore the glory of the kingdom and of Durin's folk. What true reason had he? None know for certain. Perhaps he had gone mad, or perhaps not.
Yet, in his heart, Thror desired one last quest, though he would not say where he meant to go.
But whatever the case, he summoned Thrain and gave to him what heirlooms of their house remained. Chief among them his ring, last of the 7 that had been given to the Dwarf Kings, which Sauron created. He said to Thrain, "Riches may yet spring anew from this bauble, my son, or perhaps not. Yet one cannot breed gold without gold." When Thrain asked if his intent was to return to Erebor, Thror remained silent. After a long moment he said, "These bones are too old. I will not be avenged on Smaug. That fate perchance shall be yours or your sons. I have known too much of loss of men's duration. I go to seek better fortunes, if they may yet be found." He did not say where he meant to go, and Thrain did not ask, but merely wished him fortune in his quest.
All in Zudragund bade farewell to Thror, though they knew naught of his quest. Yet, to the surprise of his kin, Thror did not set off on his journey alone. With him, he took a single companion, Nar, his friend and esquire of old. And that is where our tale begins. Together, Thror and Nar went north. In old Eregion, Thor insisted against the west gate, and the two continued northward. After a time, they crossed the Redhorn Pass and descended into Azanul-Bizar.
So that's how you pronounce it.
In the dwarves' absence, it had become an unfamiliar and unfriendly land. The dale had long fallen silent, and what remained of the Great Way was choked with undergrowth. Yet there, beyond the brambles and brush, lay Thror's prize, the lost kingdom of Khazad-dûm. Before them, the east gate yawned open, as if to beckon the two of them forth. But the journey had been long.
And Nar saw it better of seeking shelter with them Moria.
In need of respite, Nar urged Thror to take rest. Although Thror had set his mind on entering Khazad-dûm, he relented. And so, Nar toiled to set a small encampment at Azanul-Bizar. Nar built a fire and prepared what meager meal he could. But when the supper was ended, Thror stood at once.
As if in answer, Nar knelt before the old king and helped him to fasten his shield to his arm.
It is time, Nar. I have lived long enough in exile. You have proven your loyalty, my friend, and I ask only that you await my return. Do not fear, dear Nar. I go to honor our forefathers.
Take heed, my friend. An ill wind blows in this vale.
But Thror cared not. Axe in hand, he went in, as proud as any dwarf ever crossed the doorstep of Khazad-dûm. For many days, Nar hid among the trees outside the gate, lonely and troubled.
When he dared to draw nearer to the gate and peer into the gloom, neither sound nor the faintest flicker of light emerged from within. More troubling still, neither had Thror.
And so, Nar waited. And waited. And waited. And waited. And waited. Until he thought he could bear it no longer.
Despite every doubt, though, his resolve did not falter. Even if he were fated to live the rest of his days huddled beside a fire at Ananul-Bizar, Nar would not disobey his king. It was his duty to await Thror's return.
As another day of waiting drew to an end, Nar slipped into dreams. In his mind, Nar beheld Thror standing triumphantly before the east gate. Behind him, a chorus of hammers and song echoed from the halls of Khazad-dûm. Such a joyous end to the quest Nar could have hardly imagined. But it would not be so. When Nar awoke, his clothing was cold and heavy with rain.
Nar's rest has ended abruptly, and in a daze he tried to regain his bearings. Above him, the sky loomed dark. Let me hit the insert key real quick. Alright, in its hue a sickly purple, and he could not tell if it was day or night. Aside from the sound of trickling rainfall, all was still and silent. Alas, Nar would have little time to ponder his situation.
Breaking the silence, a distant voice shouted in the Orcish tongue. A horn blared, harsh and ugly, out of Moria. And from the east gate came a sickening thud, echoing through Azanul-Bizar. Fear for Thror seized Nar's heart, yet loyal as ever and heedless of all peril, Nar drew his sword. Abandoning his hiding spot, he rushed up the steps to the east gate.
Go get him, Nar.
Nar stopped at once, frozen in horror. Out of the darkness had flown a body, its limbs all a-tangle. And nearby, a head lay before the gates of Khazad-dûm.
There it is. Ah, poor King Thror. That's right, Nicholas. Alright.
Nar had known the truth at once, but wished not to believe it. It was Thor.
As Nar crept closer, there came a chittering laughter from beyond the darkness of the east gate.
And then, out of the darkest shadows of Moria, came a voice.
We know you're there, Bidley. We've been watching you. But never fear. We won't take your head today. No, you'll make a fine messenger yet. Well, come on then. You see what we do to beggars and vagabonds who barge through these doors? He got what he had coming. The old thief trying to filch what's ours. You're not bringing your reeking whiskers around these parts again. And this is what you'll get. You tell them that. Tell them all. And when his family asks who killed him and who's king here, that will be your answer. Go on, have a look. It's right there on his face. There I wrote it. You can read, can't you?
Nar knelt to inspect Thor's head, and upon it was carved the name, Azog.
There he is.
That's right. I'm the master of this house. Leave it be, Beggarbeard. That's mine now. Yeah, some coin for your troubles. It's the least we can do, eh, boys? Now, off with you.
And so, Nar fled weeping from Akraz-Zahar. For many months, Nar wandered in the wilderness, racked with sorrow. The sight of his king's defilement branded in his heart.
Okay, we're going to read the whole thing here. At first, Nar again made for the Red Horn Pass, but orcs beyond counting had gathered there and watched him with their red eyes. And so Nar fled back the way he had come. As he passed by the gates of Khazad-dûm again, more great orcs, including some larger than any he had heard before, had surrounded Thor's corpse and were hacking it to pieces. Into that hateful frenzy, a great mass of crows descended, and to them the orcs began to fling the scraps of the dwarf king. Nor dared not look again. Tear-blind, Nar ran along the banks of Akraz-Zahar, fleeing the orcs and wolves that now hunted him in cruel sport. When at last he came to the ruins of Amdan, he found them barred, and black arrows hounded his every step. Desperate to escape his own doom, however, Nar thought of Kibble Nala and leapt down the pass alongside the stream. By some stroke of fortune, Nar had won his escape, but behind him the laughter of Azog and the orcs rang in his ears. For many months, Nar wandered in the wilderness, racked with sorrow. The sight of his king defilement. Okay, I'm sorry. The sight of his king's defilement branded in his heart. At long last, he found his way north to the high pass across the misty mountains, then made his way back to Thror's Coombe. By the time he entered Zudrugond, the guards scarcely recognized him, so haggard and wild he had grown. Nar was never well in his mind again. And that is all there is to tell of the doom of Thror, Florisita.
As for Nar, there is far more to be said of his tale.
But I shall tell it as briefly as I might. Nar was brought to Thrain in Zudrugond, and there told his tale and spoke the name of Azog, which all Longbeards have held with hatred ever since. All Thror's court wept at the tidings and tore their beards, then looked to Thrain, who sat down heavily upon his father's throne and was silent. Breaking the silence, Thorin said, "You are king now, father. What is your will, and how shall we answer this outrage?" All around his court, hands went to sword hilt and axe handle, and brows lowered darkly. But still Thrain sat quiet and did not move. 7 days he remained thus, still as a stone, saying no word. Then, as a storm long gathering that breaks upon the mountainside, he arose, eyes ablaze, and cried, "This cannot be borne." From Thrain's yearning for vengeance arose the sixth war of dwarves and orcs, called simply the War of the Dwarves and Orcs in our memory. Ah, but that is another tale.
Let us hope that Nar has found some measure of happiness again, even at so old an age. It is the very least he deserves.
As for Nar, I think it's good that he has finally left Zudrugond behind. Since his return, Nar has made many friends in the Lonely Mountain. When he feels well enough to visit us here at Akraz-Zahar, I have heard his laugh and seen the light in his eye when he smiles. Although it pains me to even think such a thing, perhaps an addlement has been something of a mercy, some small kindness bestowed upon him by the first crafter. Let us hope that Nar has found some measure of happiness again, even at so old an age. It is the very least he deserves. Now then, I must tend to the task King Thorin gave to me, and you ought to begin your studies of my grandfather's work. Sorry, I just got distracted by something being... Yeah, I don't need that. All these... I might as well just... Let me see here. Just destroy all that. Alright. Okay, let me see. Where were we at here? Yeah. Okay. Hersey gestures to a stack of books atop the nearby table. Those will tell you all you need to know about the Battle of Azog-Bizarre, Florisita. When you studied it enough for your liking, you are to return to the king under the mountain. Begin your study of Hermas Stormhammer's account of the Battle of Azog-Bizarre. Okay. Alright, and I think we're going to end it there. That was a good introduction to Blood of Azog. And we will continue on later on, probably next week. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I'll see you next time. Take care.